Chapter 1. Unexpected Newcomer. New York City, 8 a.m. A woman with short red hair, wearing jeans and a yellow shirt, was on top of a roof watering plants before hearing someone scream, followed by a crash. Looking back, she gasped, seeing a teen boy in tattered black pants, mesh shirt, and missing his right arm from the elbow down. He has spiky blonde hair and 3 whisker marks on his cheeks. Hank, the woman yelled, running to the teen. A man ran out from the stairway before running to the woman. He has brown hair and is wearing a lab coat over a jacket and black pants. What's wrong, Janet? Oh my God, Hank yelled before running to Janet and the unconscious young man. Later, the teen woke up to see a white ceiling before hissing. Looking to his right, he saw his arm was bandaged up. Watashi wa doko ni iru no. O tsunade bakan ga watashi o mitsukat kurt. Watashi o konoha ni surt kimishita ka. Quote. He asked in Japanese before hearing a voice. A.N. Using Google Translate. If that's not right, or you know a better translation, let me know. All will now have all Japanese spoken words underlined. You're awake. The teen looked to see Janet walk in. Who are you? Where are we? What hidden village am I in? Janet blinked before Hank and a male doctor walked in. He's speaking Japanese, Hank said before looking to the teen and spoke slowly in Japanese. You're in New York City. The teen looked at Hank in confusion. Nani? Hank continued after he spoke up. I'm Hank Pym and this is Janet Van Dyne. The teen nodded at that. Uzumaki Naruto. After talking with Naruto for a while, they deduced that he was possibly from an alternate universe, seeing how he talked about a continent called the Element Nations, where each major city was named after an element, and he just defeated someone to end a world war before waking up in the hospital. And his wounds were healing at a rate of a certain Canadian they know. Naruto sighed as he leaned back in the bed. You okay, Naruto? Hank asked as Naruto looked to him. No, I'm not. I've been transported from my home, my friends, some possible girlfriends, and other hot ladies. He then pointed to his stub. And I've just became left-handed. Later, after checking Naruto out, the trio walked outside after giving Naruto new clothes. He's now wearing jeans with black and orange striped tennis shoes, a black shirt with a prosthetic arm, with the rest wrapped up to his neck, and his headband. Wow, like a megacar, Naruto said before looking to see the various vehicles driving by and blinked. What the hell are those? Janet looked to Hank, who looked down at her. He's never seen cars before. He called a cab that stopped beside them before the 3 got in. A few months later, Hank and Janet's apartment. Naruto closed a book on the English language in his new room before looking down at his new right arm. It's a black robotic arm. He's wearing black pants and a white sleeveless shirt. Naruto moved his fingers to test it, remembering about getting it from Stark Industries. He looked at etchings along the arm showing a slight glow as he added chakra to it. Glad I was able to add seals to this thing so I'd be able to use chakra, he said in English before stretching. He looked to the window and saw the sun was shining before seeing several birds fly by the window. He opened the window, remembering Janet and Hank offering a room of their apartment for him to stay in. Over the months, he learned all he could about the world he came to. He learned of heroes with powers that protect the civilians from what they call villains who commit crimes ranging from just stealing up to taking over the world. Naruto, come on. We've got to visit S.H.I.E.L.D. Naruto groaned at that before walking out to the hall. Do I have to? Nick is such a stick in the mud. The only reason I even agree to go to is to see Maria in that tight bodysuit. Yes, now get your butt down here and into your new costume. Naruto sighed before walking to his closet. Opening a fake bag, he picked out a costume before putting it on. He's wearing a black unitard, black shoulder pads, boots and gloves. His abdomen area is colored in a lighter gray. He's wearing a black utility belt. Suddenly, a black half-face mask came over the lower part of his face before walking down. He saw Janet was in a costume as well. Her costume is a black and yellow dress with a yellow antenna-like headpiece and black and yellow gloves and black leggings with yellow boots. "Ready?" she asked, fixing her headpiece. "No. Do I really have to go?" she sighed as she stared at him. "Yes, you're a part of the team now." Hank walked in with his lab coat over a red bodysuit with black circle on the stomach and black gloves. "Ready. Shield heli carrier." The trio walked out of a helicopter to see SHIELD agents walking around the jets. Shinobi, Wasp, and Man. The trio turned to see a woman walk up to them. She's a tall, tan-skinned woman who's wearing red lipstick and has short brown hair, brown-colored eyes, ripped broad shoulders, and a voluptuous yet well-toned muscular build. She's wearing a very form-fitting blue uniform through the uniform with a red circle with a black eagle inside on her left breast, black-colored boots, and white-colored gloves and belt. "Hello, Maria," Wasp greeted as Naruto stared before being elbowed by Wasp. "Watch it, Shinobi." He raised his hands in mock surrender before speaking. "Just enjoying the view." Maria rolled her eyes at that before turning around. "Follow me." They walked inside and past several agents before coming to the main room. There they saw a dark-skinned bald man with an eye patch on his left eye and a goatee. He's wearing a custom SHIELD uniform under a long gray coat. "How can we help you, Fury?" Hank asked as Fury turned to them. "I need your help, Hank." Wakanda, shores of Africa. In a small dome lab, Hank was looking at a piece of metal before picking up a small recorder and hit record. Field Journal 011927. Dr. Henry Pym recording. SHIELD found a sample of the rare metal alloy known as vibranium outside the African nation of Wakanda. Which is exciting for me as I'm the first scientist to study it. Hank stopped hearing someone snore loudly before looking to see Shinobi sleeping on a chair, feet propped up on a table. He sighed before continuing. SHIELD Director Nick Fury asked me to evaluate it, and make sure it's safe for humans to handle it. He said before dropping the recorder down and brought a microscope over the vibranium. Missing Naruto opening his eyes and quietly disappear. Boom. The doors exploded as Hank was looking at the metal before several men walked in as one with a beard walked in front. The one in back was suddenly grabbed by a shadow who ran into him and into the shadows on the other side of the room. "Greetings, Dr. Pym. My name is Ulysses Claw. I'd like to talk with you about the vibranium." Hank just started noticing Naruto was gone. "Then you should make an appointment with Janet Van Dyne and we'll all have lunch." Claw walked up to Hank and smiled. "You misunderstand, Doctor. I want all your research, and the vibranium," he said while picking the metal up. Up above, Naruto stuck to the ceiling waiting for a signal before seeing the other man take aim with tranquilizer guns. No one wants to talk things out anymore. Such a shame. Hank hit a button on his belt, having the black on his suit glow yellow as the men shot at him. Hank disappeared before Naruto saw him the size of an ant with a silver ant-like helmet punch one man. Naruto dropped down on one man before disappearing and reappear in front of the next two. Naruto pulled his hands forward, having several wires shine as they wrap around the men, and Naruto knocked them out. "There, and you didn't need to shrink them down," Naruto said as Hank grew back to normal. They looked to see Claw had escaped and dropped a ray gun. Later, Wasp, who was the size of a wasp, flew in with insect wings and grew to normal size. "I see you two are all right," she said, looking at the knocked out men as Hank was looking at the metal and Naruto was tossing and catching a kunai in his right hand. "We're fine, Jan," Hank said as Wasp walked up and wrapped her arms around his neck from behind. A few days later, Brooklyn, New York. Shinobi looked at the group of people in front of him, most resembling different snakes. The first one is an overweight man with brownish-red scales and a rattler tail protruding from his tailbone. The next person resembles a king cobra with his lower body being a tail, instead of legs. The next person is a man with similar characteristics but is a regular snake with armor over his chest and mechanical arms with blade protruding out of the gauntlets. The next is a female with long blonde hair and is muscular. She's wearing gold, green armor and a cloth over her waist leading down to her knees and thigh-high boots. The next female has short pink hair and is wearing a pink skin-tight bodysuit and domino mask, with a black diamond pattern on the shoulders, chest, stomach, and black gloves and boots. She has what looks like diamonds around her waist acting like a belt and one each over her gloves. The last one is a man with green scales, a tail from his tailbone and what looks like a fin on his back. He's wearing a purple bodysuit with silver plate under his arms and over his legs. Robbing a bank in broad daylight. That's just plain stupid, Naruto said as Cobra's tail beam legs. You can't stop us, Cobra yelled before Rattler shot a bolt of electricity at Naruto. Naruto disappeared from the spot before creating several clones who added chakra to their limbs. Small prongs came out of his right hand's knuckles before shocking the members. Diamondback fell down as the other members turned and hit the Naruto that was behind them. Death Adder was suddenly caught by ninja wire before being tied up with them. Anaconda was hit in the face with sleeping pellets and fell down as well. Cobra turned and was hit with a blue ball of energy from Naruto. Rasengan. Naruto jumped from Bushmaster before taking two kunai and cut his arms off. Bushmaster turned and swallowed Naruto to his waist. Oh, come on, not again, Naruto yelled before quickly going through hand signs. Denpo Sekka. Lightning shocked Bushmaster before Naruto turned and threw him to a building. Rattler ran to Naruto who looked over his shoulder before going through hand signs and slammed them down on the ground. Doden. Domu. A dome came up trapping Rattler before Naruto saw the shield helicarrier above them. You're late, Fury, Naruto said as he walked over to the unconscious Diamondback. He picked her up bridal style as a helicopter dropped down. A week later, New York City, University. Bored, Naruto groaned as he sat on a chair. He's wearing camouflage pants and a black shirt with burnt orange lines on the sleeves that go up to the shoulders. He looked around the room. Hank was studying insects in his laboratory. Janet was looking at a butterfly cage inside herself. She's wearing a yellow shirt with the straps hanging off her shoulders over another black shirt and jeans. I'm with Naruto on this, Hank. I manage your entire life so you can do this. And it's so boring, she yelled looking at dead butterflies in a frame on the wall by the windows. Jan, I'm mapping insect genomes. What could be better than this? Naruto tipped his chair back. Literally anything else. Suddenly, an explosion went off outside having Naruto and Janet look out the window. They saw a man in a green-colored, metal-plated armor come out of a building. He has a cone-shaped helmet covering most of his face except for his blue eyes with two small wings at the side of the helmet. He has broad green shoulder pads, a green belt around his waist. He has metal bracelets with saw blades on them. Finally, he quickly ran out of the room and went out the window in his costume before dropping down as wasp flew by him. The man created a green tornado and flew away as the duo gave chase. Naruto ran along the building before jumping ahead through a kunai with a piece of paper tied on the handle. It flew just in front of the man and exploded, forcing him to stop in his tracks, having the wind die down. Whirlwind, Naruto said as Wasp caught up and flew beside his head. Did you just shoot at me? Whirlwind asked as Naruto clapped his hands. Oh, we got a smart one. Whirlwind's lower body became a tornado and he hovered around as Wasp shot yellow bolts out of her hands at him. Naruto jumped behind a car before flipping over it and went through several hand signs, and a small opening over his mouth opened and he shot bullets of air out, hitting Whirlwind in his helmet. Futon. Rinkuden. Whirlwind shook his head before a swarm of ants attacked, having him let out a scream. What are you doing? They looked to see a small ant-man riding a flying ant. We should leave this to the authorities. Naruto snorted at that. He went through several police cars while we were chasing him, Hank. They are not prepared to face people with powers, that's why we are here. Ant-Man looked at Wasp before speaking up. You're not trained for this. I don't want you to get hurt. Suddenly, Whirlwind blasts the ants from him and looks at the trio. Playtime's over. He threw the blades at them, having the trio dodge. One hit Wasp, who flew to a cab and grew to normal size unscathed. Whirlwind dashed to her. Her hand glowed yellow before bringing it up to Whirlwind's helmet. A yellow blast hits him, forcing him on his back. Naruto and Ant-Man walked to him and looked down. I know it's not a game, Hank, but I can do more than make money and take meetings. Together, we can do more. And we can have fun doing it. Wasp said as her wings came up and she hovered as she shrank. The big house, shield helicarrier. Shinobi, Wasp, Ant-Man, and Fury watched as Whirlwind walked in a miniaturized prison in a room of the helicarrier. Flanking him are two robots with ant-shaped heads. Suddenly, Whirlwind used his powers, shorting out a chip on his suit before Ant-Man poked him. Whirlwind looked up in shock. You shouldn't insult the synthezoid, Mr. Cannon. They're just doing their jobs. Naruto and Wasp waved down at them. HJ, spin cycle. Miss me? Wasp asked as two more robots walked towards Whirlwind. Dr. Pym, Shield thanks you for your hand in taking Whirlwind down. Hank looked to Fury, who walked inside. Well, ahem. Wasp cleared her throat, bumping her hip into Hank's. Well, it was actually Jan and Naruto who took him down. Fury smirked as he turned around. Maybe you two should come work for me, Ms. Van Dyne. Mr. Uzumaki. Wasp and Shinobi, agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Naruto just stared as Wasp smiled. I like it. Hank sighed at that as they made their way to the front of the helicarrier. Hey, I think I can see my penthouse from here, Wasp said, looking out the glass front. We appreciate your help, Director. But I like to get a status report on the big house facility, Hank said as he turned to face Fury. I'm a little concerned, frankly. Naruto sighed at that. Some people don't want to be rehabilitated, Hank. Some just want to watch the world burn. Wasp elbowed Naruto at that. Quote. You saw that in a movie. Naruto shrugged at that. Still applies. S.H.I.E.L.D. could use a team like you three. Wasp eyes widen at that. You want to recruit us? For real? Fury nodded at that. What you've done, Dr. Pym, given yours and Jan's powers. And Naruto. He was interrupted by Hank. Stop. If you're just interested in having your own superhuman soldiers, then the answer's no. Look, Ant-Man. Hank shook his head at that. I agreed to work with S.H.I.E.L.D. to help people like Whirlwind, not to do more fighting. I'm not going to make weapons for you. You've already got Tony Stark for that. Fury stared at Hank for a moment before speaking. What's it like, living in your science world, Pym? You guys played hero, took down Whirlwind. Did you even bother to ask what he stole? Fury walked to a computer and brought up a small device with a round end. A sonic disruptor. He then brought up a picture of Claw. Whirlwind was working for Claw. You saw what he did with the small amount of vibranium he got his hands on. He's still out there, so you three go home and think about how you want supervillains to have comfier jail cells. Because we'll still be here, making the world safer. They walked away as an agent informed Fury that Whirlwind has agreed to work with S.H.I.E.L.D. to help people like Whirlwind, not to do more fighting. I'm not going to make weapons for you. You've already got Tony Stark for that. Fury stared at Hank for a moment before speaking. What's it like, living in your science world, Pym? You guys played hero, took down Whirlwind. Did you even bother to ask what he stole? Fury walked to a computer and brought up a small device with a round end. A sonic disruptor. He then brought up a picture of Claw. Whirlwind was working for Claw. You saw what he did with the small amount of vibranium he got his hands on. He's still out there, so you three go home and think about how you want supervillains to have comfier jail cells. Because we'll still be here, making the world safer. They walked away as an agent informed Fury that Whirlwind is a mutant. Now. A week later, New York City. A red Lamborghini drove down the highway with two people in it. The first is a middle-aged man who has black hair with two hair points sticking out, and brown eyes. He's wearing a red button shirt and black dress pants. The second is an African American man wearing a military uniform. He has a well-groomed haircut and brown eyes. You've been pretty quiet, Tony. Usually you're telling me about a hot date. Tony shifted to a higher gear before replying. Just thinking about a teen boy Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne brought a few months ago. A few months ago, Stark Industries. A week after Naruto came to the world, he was with Hank and Janet in a cab that stopped just outside a tall skyscraper with Stark written down the building. They walked inside and saw a woman holding a clipboard. She has long red hair tied into a low ponytail and green eyes. She wears a light brown blazer with a black t-shirt, a brown skirt and shoes. Hello Dr. Pym, Ms. Van Dyne. I'm Virginia Potts, but my friends call me Pepper. This must be Naruto that you've told us about, she said as Naruto waved with his left hand. Hey, Naruto said as she smiled at him. Hello, follow me, she said in Japanese before the trio followed Pepper down the halls. On the way, they passed several rooms with people working, or testing some sort of machinery or robotics. Naruto blinked as he looked around before coming to room here. They saw Tony and a female doctor with blonde hair in an office. So, you want us to help out with the kid's arm? Tony asked, having Hank nod. Yes, apparently he just lost it a week ago, so we thought it would be easier to get a new one. Naruto looked confused until Pepper translated for him as the others talked. So, what can you tell me about him? Tony asked the two who looked to each other. We just found him by Janet's penthouse last week, after he fell out of the sky and landed on one of Janet's tables. Hank said as Tony raised an eyebrow and glanced to Naruto. Later, Naruto, in a hospital gown, was standing against a wall. Get that torture device away from me, he yelled as the doctor was holding a needle. Oh, come on, you need to have your shots before going under. You don't have any records, so we don't know if you've had your tetanus shot, Pepper said before Naruto glanced to her, and suddenly, the needle was in his arm as Janet struck him. Ow. They still won't tell me anything else about him, Tony said as a small TV screen came up on the console above the gear shift as a report played with a woman news reporter with tan skin, brown hair, and a beauty mark by her lip. And Iron Man saved civilians from what eyewitnesses are calling a giant robot attack. Rhodey reached and turned it off. A giant robot attack? Really, Tony? You could have called me. Tony glanced to him before looking back at the road. That footage didn't capture how big the thing really was. I mean, it was huge. He swerved through several cars before Rhodey looked to him. Okay, look, that just makes my point for me. SHIELD should be fighting giant robots, not you. They're not the bad guys, Tony, and they need your help. Tony sighed at that. I'm out of the weapons making game, Rhodey. You're talking to a kinder, gentler Tony Stark. That fights supervillains, Rhodey said as Tony swerved past a tractor trailer. We've been over this a million times. You're starting to bum me out. Rhodey just stared at him. What about the Hulkbuster unit? You can still help them take out that monster. Tony ignored him as he drove to his building. As he made it to the parking garage, Pepper was waiting for them, tapping her foot. Pepper, I already know you're a great assistant, but you don't need to park my car too. We've got valets for that. Pepper narrowed her eyes at him. For someone who makes their living off of technology, you should try answering your phone. I've been calling you for 20 minutes. He just raised an eyebrow at her. Oh, because you missed me so much, she shook her head. Because Hydra just attacked the United Nations. A few minutes later, they were in Tony's office with a very large screen TV showed large octopus robots attacking the UN building with soldiers in a green bodysuits, light green helmets and a logo of a red circle with a black evil octopus on it. Where's S.H.I.E.L.D.? Tony asked as the screen was covered by a painting. 40 minutes out. There's military detail there, but Tony, it's a full assembly, all the world's leaders are there. Including the president. Tony went to the wall and a door opened up showing a dark room. Taking his clothes off, he revealed he's wearing a bodysuit with blue glowing lines on it connected to a glowing circle on his chest. JARVIS, fire it up, he said before hearing a voice. Very good, sir. Initiating the Mark 6. A pod opened up showing a suit of armor broken up. It's red on the chest and helmet with gold on the faceplate, arms, and legs with red boots and gloves. He stepped in and the suit wrapped around him and locked in place. Thrusters came out of his hands and feet before flying outside. Better start now, I'll be 10 to 15 minutes max, he said as a screen came over his face showing a full screen view of what he was seeing instead of obscured. The UN. Iron Man flew to the mayhem and floated near one of the large robots. A beam shot out of his chest going through the robot's head before glancing around seeing Hydra agents around and saw two on a nearby roof sniping. He aimed at them only to lower his hand as Shinobi dropped down and slammed their heads together. Naruto flipped over the edge and landed on another man before running to a bush as the men shot at him. Missed me, Naruto yelled running out of the bush and weaved through the large group. Naruto took a kunai out and attacked several men before taking their rifles and destroyed them by breaking them over a chakra-infused leg. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Multiple Narutos poofed onto the area before each made short work of the agents. Oh yeah, I rock. Iron Man flew down to him before speaking. I had everything under control. Naruto deadpanned at them. Well, you're welcome anyway, jackass. Naruto turned to see missile were shot at them before taking kunai out and threw them at two in the middle. Boom. The missiles exploded having a chain reaction to all but two that Iron Man took care of shooting a beam out of his hands. Look, whoever you are, I didn't need any help. Naruto just stared at him. I just thought I would repay you for giving me my arm a couple of months ago. Iron Man's eyes widened behind his mask at that. Before anything could be said, 3 robots came down at them. Only for 3 Narutos with a Rasengan in hand and blew them up as they made contact with the heads. Naruto looked at Iron Man before the helicarrier flew above them and men in blue and silver armor dropped down as other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents rappelled down. Iron Man, Shinobi, by the authorities of Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement and Logistics Division. You're both hereby ordered to stand down. Naruto held his right arm as it twitched before flipping them off. Oh, sorry, I thought I fixed that. It still needs recalibrations. Listen, let me talk to Fury. Unless you want to explain to the world leaders why S.H.I.E.L.D. is arresting the 2 who saved their asses. Naruto said, pointing to reporters and the world leaders who had bodyguards around them. Hey, that's my tech, Iron Man yelled out at them. Let's go and talk to the bald idiot, Tony. See if he can explain himself. Naruto said, walking to one of the ropes and climbed it as Iron Man flew up. He burst through the helicarrier and looked to Fury. Click. And had Maria aim her gun at his head. Stand down, Hill. In case you forgot, he just saved the UN. Maria looked to Fury as Naruto walked in with his hands behind his head.
Hello everybody.
Naruto tuned everything out for a few minutes before hearing Fury yell at him. Fury sighed at that. Did you hear a word, Shinobi? Naruto shook his head at Fury.
Coronavirus.
Nope. I was thinking how cool it would be if you were replaced by that Samuel L. Jackson guy. Fury turned his attention to Iron Man and argued about using his tech and weapons before Iron Man flew off. A few days later, Janet's penthouse. Ha 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 ha. Naruto laughed loudly as he sat at the kitchen table. That's a good one. Janet just huffed at that. It's not a joke. You need to go to high school. Ha ha ha. Now look here. Ha ha ha. I can't stop laughing. Janet's eyebrow twitched at that. It's not a damn joke. Here, you have to go to school until you're 18. And you're 16. Naruto stopped laughing at that and looked at her in shock. You must be joking. I graduated school at 13. Nope. And then there's college where, depending on what career you want, can go to school for another 7. Only reason I'm bringing it up now, is because it's summer vacation. A cloud of depression formed over Naruto at that. Oh, come on Naruto, you'll make friends and go out on dates. I can't be the only cute girl in your life. Naruto snorted as he held in a laugh. Janet narrowed her eyes at him. I mean, I'd never find one as cute as you. She smiled as she patted his head. Good. A week later, library. Naruto was reading up on what he could to get ready for school so he won't raise suspicion. He picked one up on World War II and saw a large section on a Steve Rogers aka Captain America and his partner Bucky Barnes. Picking a book, he saw 2 colored pictures of them. Captain America is a tall and muscular man wearing a uniform that's comprised of a mostly blue tunic, white sleeves, and red gloves and boots. On his tunic, a stylized star is visible, along with red and white stripes around his mid-torso to his waist, along with a brown utility belt with various pouches for his equipment. He's holding a circular shield that has red and white stripes around it ending with a blue circle and a white star in the center. Bucky is a teenage boy wearing a blue army shirt and red pants. He's wearing a black domino mask, gloves, belt, and boots. Naruto turned the page and continued reading. Norway, 1943. A group of Allied soldiers ducked under Hydra fire in a graveyard as rain poured down hard. Howlett, I need recon, the leader said to a man with mutton chops. I'm on it, bub. Logan replied, ducking behind a boulder. The minigun jammed before Captain America's shield flew to it and slices it in half. This is the end of the line, boys. The group looked to see Captain America grab his shield standing on a rock. Our job is to take down Hydra Science Space. We already have a man on the inside to get us in. Now, let's go show the Red Skull his days are over. Red Skull, Castle. A man whose entire head looks like a red skull looked out the window. He's wearing a black Allgemeine SS uniform. He's wearing a military decoration similar to the Iron Cross around his neck. Lieutenant Strucker, report. He said, looking to a bald man in the Hydra uniform. Hair Skull. The Allies have found the fortress. Captain America is with them. Strucker said as Red Skull looked out the window. Send your best regiment out to confront him. He will defeat them, of course. But it will give us time to prepare the specimens. This will be the perfect test. Captain America and the Howling Commandos. Captain America and the Commandos fought against Hydra soldiers as they made their way through the graveyard. Captain America and Jack Fury ran towards Red Skull's castle and dealt with a group of soldiers before a grenade was dropped down. Boom. Captain America brought his shield up and blocked most of the explosion as it sent both men to the ground. Captain America got up and flipped a Hydra soldier over his shoulder, off of the bridge. The drawbridge dropped down and Captain America saw Bucky drop down on it. "Well, you're late," he said as the commandos caught up to them. Bucky explained he couldn't get into the lower levels of the castle without raising an alarm before Captain America ran in. Once blowing the door inside, the duo were greeted by a Cyclops wielding a hammer for a left hand. The Cyclops attacked, bringing his hammer down, having the duo jump out of the way. "Must be one of Zola's experiments," Captain America said, looking up at the Cyclops. They fought the Cyclops as it swung the hammer around, destroying whatever was in its path. As they fought, a yellow light on a collar shined as Captain America's shield hit the Cyclops.
Give me a second.
Captain America lured it outside and had the Cyclops attack the drawbridge, breaking it. The Cyclops fell down the cliff to the river several miles down below. Later, they went into a laboratory with several bombs and experiments littered throughout the room. Walking to another, they went on a catwalk and looked down. There, they saw other monsters in a tube as a man with wild gray hair in a Hydra uniform and cape looked at a monitor. As well as Red Skull and Strucker. "I know you're there, Captain," Red Skull said as he looked at a light in the middle of the room. "You're just in time to witness history," he finished, looking up at the duo. Captain America surrendered when soldiers came, so as not to have Bucky get hurt. They walked down to Red Skull and the others. "Still doing Zemo's dirty work, Skull?" Red Skull just chuckled at that. No, I have stopped looking for the relics of this world. Today, I take the power of another one. Ancient Norse mythology of supernaturally powerful beings. But all myths have some basis of truth to them. This cave was once a gateway to that. The Norse called it Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. Picture an army of mythological beasts, unleashed upon the battlefield. He glanced to a wolf creature beside him and picked a remote. He pressed a button and had the wolf whimper as the light glowed on a collar on its neck. "What have you done?" Captain America asked in horror. "What have I done? I have won this war." "Open the portal." The portal in the center of the room glowed brightly. The scientist increased the power, showing the head of a giant that had blue skin and a helmet that looked like ice. "Now," Captain America yelled, attacking the soldiers with Bucky having the others shoot at them, and hot the monitors and computers. No, Red Skull yelled as the duo continued their attack. The lights flickered on and off, having the creatures escape their pods. They attacked as well as pixies went through the portal. The duo attacked, having the creatures go into the portal before shutting the power off just as the giant started to come through. The lab exploded, having the duo chase after Red Skull. Captain America put his shield on his back with straps as they made it to the roof. There, they saw Red Skull climbing on a tower's ladder. "Stay here," Captain America ordered, running to chase after Red Skull. "Secure the fortress." Bucky glared at that as Red Skull got into a rocket and flew off. Captain America climbed along as Red Skull flew high in the air. "I've got your back, Cap." Captain America looked back to see Bucky holding on behind him. "Bucky, I told you to." He was interrupted by Bucky, who climbed higher. "Yeah, I know. But we're partners, right?" Captain America smiled at that. "Let's finish this." The jet flew over the Arctic as the duo made their way to the cockpit. Captain America used his shield to break the glass and grab Red Skull. "It's over, Red Skull." Red Skull just laughed at him. "Finally, we agree." He hit a yellow button, having a timer come up counting down from 1 minute. Red Skull ejected, laughing as he did so as Captain America looked inside the cockpit. "Not enough time. Bucky, jump for it," he yelled as Bucky was caught on some loose rung of the ladder. "I can't." Captain America dropped down and helped Bucky. Only for Bucky to kick him off to save him as the rocket flew up and exploded. Boom. No, Bucky. Captain America yelled as the blast sent him to the freezing waters below. Liberty Island. Naruto found himself on Liberty Island looking at a statue of Captain America and Bucky in front of the Statue of
Yeah.
Liberty. He then thinks back on the illustration of Steve saluting in the book he read, looks at his right hand and brings it up to the side of his head in a salute to the brave duo. To be continued.